Alright, this is Gemini IT, and we're going to go through some basic back office functions from a training standpoint for everyone. And this will cover some of the basic things. If you have anything specific, please feel free to reach out to us here at Gemini IT for more help on your Tonic point of sale system. We're going to cover the basics, adding staff, adding a menu item, changing prices, running a few reports, that sort of thing. So this assumes that you've logged in to the Tonic back office by going to secure.tonicpos.com, and we're going to use my demo account for training purposes here. Here on this dashboard, see if there's any open orders. You can take a look at sales for today. You can tell if your store is open or closed. If you have more than one store, you would use your drop down box here, and you'll see my list of stores that I have access to. But we're just going to use my demo store. It's important that you do make sure that if you do have more than one store, that you do select the correct location, because obviously you don't want to be making changes to a location or a group of locations that you don't intend to. So let's just start off by looking at a few things. We're just going to go left to right here. My orders, this is where we're at here on the dashboard. Again, this shows any open orders. This will show a summary of all orders by servers and that sort of thing. And I can go here and look at a range of dates if I need to do that. Today's orders, this will show a list of all of today's orders. So I could drill into those orders if I needed more information. Payments. This is a list of all payments that were taken. If it was a credit card, it would have information in here as far as the last four digits of the credit card. So if you needed to search for a credit card transaction that maybe needed to be refunded from a day or two ago, it's already been batched or that sort of thing, you could type in the total. And let's pretend this first transaction is a credit card transaction. The total amount's $14.23. So I could type in the search field here $14.23 if I know that that's what I'm looking for. And then I could have that information that I could then reach out to Tonic and request bold payment support. Bold priority payments is Tonic's processor, credit card processor. So you would have all the information here to give to the bold support rep, from the amount, an approval ID, the last four digits of the card under the number column, the date of the transaction, and the amount that they would need to work with you on that transaction. So that's the power of going to My Orders and Payments. Reports. If I hit Reports and then Dashboard, again, you can't break the Reports section. It is my suggestion to you to get in here and play around, look at the various reports, and find the reports that most fit your operation. Sales Summary is a big one, the one that's defaulted here. I can come in and pick a range of dates. For example, if I wanted to see the sales for the month of May, I could just highlight that, click May 1st, and then I can use other filters that if I wanted to, but I'm just going to hit Display. And then this will give me all the sales that I've run summarized. It will show me how much tax I collected, both in alcohol tax and sales tax. It'll break out my sales for me up here so I can report beer, liquor sales, group that out, and then regular sales as well. It'll show me a breakdown between cash and credit cards. It'll show me total tips collected. And then, of course, I can right click and hit print, and then I can print that out on a printer if I wanted to. So lots of great information there. Notice when it opened this report that it opened a different tab. So close the tab on your browser that the report is in, so you don't kick yourself out of the back office. One of the other reports that we've seen asked for that people want to see is a tips report for server, and it's in the second column here that says sales by server. So if I click on that, sales by server, and again I can pick a date range if I want and hit display. This will show sales by all of my individual staff members, and I don't run credit cards on my demo transactions, so it's not going to show the tips, credit card tips that they've earned here. But in your live environment, you can show the tips that you have paid or due to your various servers. So again, these report headers are fairly self-explanatory, so you can look through that and get that information reported in a format that you like. Clock in and clock out. I cover this in a separate video of how to run time and attendance reports, but I can come in here and I can see who's clocked in. You know, again, this is my demo system, so I leave folks in longer than they should. But one of the things that you need to stress to your staff is make sure they clock in and out. And for example, if I need to come in here and look at my bartender, and I can view any kind of clock ins, I can look at that. I can look at my cashier, and I can look at date ranges. I can see all the clock in and clock outs for my cashier. Notice that she clocked in, or he clocked in on on May the 15th at 2:58. This is in military time, but she didn't clock out, or he didn't clock out. So I can come in here and I can put the date in, 15th, and I can select the time. So they clocked in at almost 3 o'clock. Let's say they left at 10 o'clock. That's 2200 hours, so 2200, and I can click on save. So now when I run a shift report, that will be that'll be appropriate. And then I can come back in here to this drop down and pick whatever staff member that I need to work with. So once I've done that, and I've come in here to look at attendance report, these are people that are currently clocked in, and we've already been to reconcile, where we went through and edited times that people were clocked in and clocked out, the dates. If I go to analyze, this is where I can run my reports. Most people like this attendance detail. This shows every clock in and clock out by the staff for whatever date range you select. So whatever payroll period is, key in your dates here, hit display, and it will generate the report. Here's my cashier. He or she clocked in at 2:58 p.m. on May the 15th, clocked out at 10 p.m. on May the 15th. Who reconciled it? Remember, I made that edit where I entered in the time that they clocked in and clocked out. Show the hours worked. If I have an hourly wage in for that employee, then it will calculate the gross pay for me. Then here's a server. They clocked in at May 3rd, 10:28 a.m., but there's no clock out there. So obviously I need to go back and look at server 1. And let's go ahead and do that. Clock in, clock out, reconcile, find my employee, server 1. I know I have interesting names for my staff. And we'll go back and we'll just look at, for April through May. There's on May 3rd, no clock out. So May 3rd, they clocked in at 10:28 a.m. Let's say they left at 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the afternoon. So 16:30 is military time. And save. So now, when I go back to clock in and clock out, and I hit analyze, attendance by detail, and I look at the month of May. I know nobody does payroll monthly, but this is an example of how we get it done. It should have updated. I wonder if I didn't hit save. Always remember to hit save. Let's find out. Clock in, clock out. Reconcile by employee. Server 1. Whoops, not going to show anything there because the date range isn't right. There's that. So we'll hit save. And I ought to be able to go back in and analyze attendance detail. There we go. So there's the clock in, clock out. So just from, lesson there, remembered it saved, and there's the hours that my server worked. So that's a little bit of information there. Of course, again, run whatever you need to here. We can export to the various payroll services. If you have payroll company that you want to do your payroll. Customers, this is where you would add house accounts and work with those. We're not going to really dig into those. Menus, real quick, we're going to show how to edit an item and add an item. So if I look at, when you think of menus, think of the various categories that are displaying at the top of your Tonic point of sale system. And notice I have a lot of categories. We'll just pick on appetizers because just about everybody has appetizers. So we'll go in here to appetizers. So this is your menu categories when you think of that. So these are all the items that are in there. If I just want to do a basic price change, I can find the item there, my 5-piece wings. Let's say instead of $6.54, it's going to be $6.99. I can change it right there. These are the button colors. So this is the background. So if I click that, my background is here. So I want to change the background of my 5-piece wings. And then this is the text that wings 5-piece is going to show up in. So it'll be a yellow button with black lettering is how that item's going to look. And then I would click on save all. So that would change the price and it would change the color for my 5-piece wings. Now, if I'm in here and let's say I'm dealing with alcohol tax or some of those other things that I need to deal with, I click on the item and I can edit. This is the name is the name of the button. Online ordering name, this is how it's presented in the online ordering module if you have that. The announcer name, this is what prints in the kitchen. And then whatever sales group, so a lot of people will have a menu, if you will, a category called apps, soups, and salads. You'll group your appetizers, your soups, and your salads all under one category, so all those entry level or start of an order items are right there on one screen. Maybe you put them in different colors. But when a sales report, I want my appetizers report as appetizers, my soups report as soups, my salads report as salads. So that's kind of what this is. Description, this is whether I use it for ordering. Guests may ask, how is something made? And I have a handheld where the server is equipped with a handheld. They can touch the item and click the hamburger icon there at the front of the house and select the question mark there that's in that drop down menu, and they can tell a guest how something is made, or maybe this is for online ordering. As we come on down through here, this availability, how many I have available if I want to track that. Calories is pure reference information. Loyalty programs, how many points you earned by ordering this item, how many points are required to redeem this item. There's things there. Prep routing, what prep printers this goes to, all kinds of information about the particular item. If I click on back from there, notice it brings up a lot more information for me. So now, and this liquor text column is important if you have liquor text set up in your system. If I add an item and if I don't put zeros in here, whoops, sorry. If I don't put a 0 in there, I can't type for some reason, then I'm going to end up with this item charging liquor tax. So make sure that you put zeros in there that this item doesn't charge liquor tax. And it will show the tax calculated based on your current tax rate here under this column. So I get a little bit of a grid here. If this is an open item price, I'll prompt for price. If, for example, if this wings button, if this wasn't a 5-piece wings, maybe this was wings by the piece, and I wanted it to prompt for quantity, I would check that. All kinds of different things that we can do with the items here within Tonic Point of Sale. So that's a little bit about editing items. The best way I like to do it, just repeat menus, click on menu, select a category that I'm working with. Let's say here's my entree section, and I want to change the price of my 3-chunk snack. Again, there it is. Let's say it's currently $7.99. I want to change it to $8.49. Save all. So super easy to work with. If I wanted to add an item, one of my favorite ways to do this, let's say I'll be back in here to a 5-chunks dinner. Notice my 3-chunk snack is $8.49, comes with 1 side. Well, let's say I'm going to add a 5-chunk dinner, and my dinners come with 2 sides. So I'm going to select a like item, and then I'm going to hit clone down here at the bottom where it says save, clone, and delete. So if I hit clone, I can come in here and just type 5-chunk dinner, and I'm going to, if I blank these out, then it automatically fills in what I put up there. And then I can change my description. 5 of our delicious chicken nuggets served with 2 sides. Notice I come down here and it's already got the printers. It allows me to select what menus I want this to go in. So I'm going to put it in my entree section. I'm going to tell it that it has 2 sides. And I'm going to tell it its price is, let's say, $12.99. It does charge regular sales tax. We're going to put 0 in there for liquor tax, and we'll select add. So now, and I hit save, so I'm going to hit close, and I'm going to go back, and we'll select menus up here at the top, menus and entrees, and we'll scroll down. Oh, it did not. I bet you I did not hit save. 5-chunk dinner. Blank that out. Blank that out. 5 of those. That's what I did. I did not hit save right here. So now that I've hit save, now I'm going to check my menus here. Yep, that's all good. So I don't need to change that. Remember to hit save. I guess is the point. So now when I back menus, entrees, and we come down and we look, there's my 5-chunk dinner. But if I want the 5-chunk dinner right underneath the 3-chunk dinner, or maybe keep my 3, let's say I want to keep my dinners together. Notice that this is in position 9, this is in position 13. If I go 10, I can move that up just like that. So that's a quick way to order your buttons, or you can move them up and down using your up and down arrow keys here. For example, if I click the down arrow, that would drop the 5-chunk dinner down here underneath that. So however you want to order your buttons, you can. Just remember to hit save on your menu and you'll be good. So now, and we're going to skip the inventory section. That's a whole nother deal. We're going to go over to staff because I get a question, how do I add staff? So we'll click on staff. So setup, staff is where we went. And let's say I want to add a new server. So we have server 1. And again, I'll pick my staff member here. And I'll just take a look and see how they're set up. Really, all you have to enter in is their first and last name. You don't need to put an email address in there. The employee number is what they're going to use to log in with, how they're paid, and their wages. And you're going to want to leave the main contact unchecked for regular staff, because if they're a main contact, that means they can, if they have a user ID and password, they can log into the back office. And then you're going to pick what kind of role they have here. So we're going to come in and click plus. Let's say I'm going to add a new staff member. They're going to be a server, and the name is Jim Smith. So Jim Smith, again, you can skip the email. Don't put anything in password. Don't confuse password with employee number. And let's say their employee number is 124. And let's say we pay this person $12 an hour. That's really all I have to put in there. I can put in other things for reference if I want, but first name, last name, employee number, pay rate's important, and then I'm going to hit save, and that opens up something for me here. Oops, sorry. It's asking me to, maybe I've got an email address required. I don't know why that is in there. Hang on one second. I'm not sure why it's asking me to put in an email address. So I'm just going to put in our email address here. Usually it doesn't do that, so I don't know why it's doing that. So I'll need to research that, because normally it doesn't do that. So forgive me. There's my server, so there's my server, and I'm going to, under roles, you need to select what roles they're going to use. This is where the system gets its permissions from, and I've picked server, and you would click add, and then be sure you hit save. So that's going to save your new staff member, if you will. That's really all we need to go through. Again, there are other things in here that we could look at. Maybe your tax rate gets changed. Setup, taxes. The state of Oklahoma does the 13.5%, so you're going to leave that there. Let's say the sales tax rate goes from 9.5% to 9.25%. You just click on it, change it, and this should be at round. So it rounds up or rounds down, and you click save. And it's telling me I got to put a description in there. Sales tax. And now my sales tax is updated. So that's a general overview of the back office for Tonic Point of Sale. I hope that this helps everyone understand how to do various things. And as always, reach out to us here at Gemini IT or call Tonic Support for additional information. Have a great day.